Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Summer Writing Retreat orientation session. We are here live on Zoom and live on YouTube for the last looky-loos who want to know what's going on. And I am so excited to be able to introduce this wonderful program for everyone because this is um, we at the Writers League of Texas have many programs going on all the time. There's plenty of things happening. Anytime you want to log in for writing, we have something for you. But we have a few big tentpole programs, as we like to call them. We have our Agents and Editors Conference and our Agent Symposium. They both represent the kind of business focused information that we like to provide programming. And the Summer Writing Retreat, is our major craft focused program. We really just want to, this program is laser focused, handcrafted by our wonderful program director, Sarah Beach, to just really take where you're at with your writing and help you push it forward wherever you're trying to get it. I'm so excited. This program has a long history of from it was once in person a long time ago, may be person once again in the future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We'll see. But we went virtual in 2020 with some just random things happening in the world. We figured, hey, let's try this out, and it was such a wonderful time. We made it. We took it from a week long to a whole month, and it's just a beautiful thing to be able to devote so much time to your writing, to be able to carve out um, some space for yourself in these hectic times and really drill down on something that I think is very important for each of us, our own words. And with that, I don't need to talk about the importance of words too much deeper because we have so much more information to tell you tonight about the experience you're in for. So whether this is your first time or your fifth time doing this virtual writing retreat with us, I am so glad you're here. And I'm going to pass it off to Sarah Beach to give a little bit more information.
Thank you so much, Evan. Yes, I'm Sarah Renee Beach. I am so lucky to be the program director here at the Writers League of Texas. But I do want to acknowledge here at the top of the program that there's an ongoing tragedy unfolding here in Central Texas. So while we turn towards our writing over these next 4 weeks, I hope you'll give yourselves and each other just an extra helping of grace, and take the time you need, and just really be kind towards one another this month, and be kind towards yourself. Writing is rare in that it helps us process. It can help us process, and I hope our time together this month helps you reach your goals. But I also hope it helps reinforce for you that this work is worth doing and is time well spent, even and especially during difficult times. And with that said, let's dive into it. Here's what we plan to cover this evening. We'll have some hellos and housekeeping notes from our wonderful faculty. We will dive into how we will be communicating with you this month, and then we will walk through beat by beat the schedule for the next 4 weeks. And then we will take your questions. We'll actually have two times that I'll take questions after we get through all the nitty-gritty of the classes and communication details. We'll pause for questions. I'll go through the full schedule, and then we'll take any lingering questions at the end. Yeah, let's see. So our first instructor is the wonderful Deborah Deep Mouton. Deborah has some slides prepared for us, so I'm going to hand things over to her to introduce her class.
Hey, everybody. I apologize in advance for starting that roach conversation as my body starts to shiver. I was like, why did I start that? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so for those of you who are taking memoir writing, I'm so excited to be able to spend some time with you. And if you're not, there's still time to join or time to join at another time later on. Hopefully, we'll have this class again. And so I'm super excited because I am not coming from a space of being a memoirist first. I actually started my journey as a poet and spent a lot of time on on stages doing spoken word and traveling the world. And so my lens is really about thinking about putting together a memoir collection very similarly to a poetry collection of kind of moments of time that we're gathering together that we start talking about how they work together. I don't know why that decided to open on that stage slide. Let's maybe start at the beginning, right? Because it was doing some other thing. You're gonna pretend like you didn't see that. Oh no, it went them out of order. That's even more fun. Okay, well, we'll just start here and we'll make it work. A little bit about myself as a teacher, in addition to being a poet, I really do believe that you're the expert of you. I'm not coming in to suddenly tell you some revelation about yourself that you didn't know. The beautiful thing about memoir is that you have everything already built into you. You have been collecting stories and experiences your whole life. My job is not to come in and tell you that they're wrong or right, but it's to say, how can we take what you did and make it the most impactful, and tell it in a way that gets all of the emotion out of it that you felt when you first had it happen to you, or the emotions that you want your audience to feel if you're thinking about curating a larger collection. I really believe that everyone in the room is a student, and that includes myself. And so when I come into a space, I want to learn alongside you. I want us to make joint discoveries. I want us to read a work together and you to notice something that I never noticed before, right? I tell people often I'm not in a situation of wanting to keep people from eating at my table. Your plate has nothing to do with how I eat. And so I generously share any resources that I have in hopes of us both being able to have a meal together in this career. And then the last thing of just thinking about coming to yourself again and again in memoir, I think the things that I've discovered in my time creating memoir and publishing my first memoir, Black Chameleon, a couple years ago, which became an award-winning memoir, right? Thinking about how, for me, I kind of met myself over and over, and there were things that I was like, oh, I wasn't even realizing that I was feeling that until I started putting it on the page. So I just ask that you come with the heart of really understanding that some things might sneak up on you. Grief is sneaky, right? And so I want to make space for you to be able to dive into those moments if you feel led to them. But by no means am I asking you to find the most triggering thing you've ever lived through and write about it. Okay. Our sessions are really simple, 3 hours long. I'm looking to do 2 to 3 generative writing prompts per session. The way that I structure it is kind of like a mentor text is brought in, we look at it together, we take some time to write, we come back, we give some feedback about what we wrote, and talk about it together. Our topics are listed on the website as well, so I'm not going to read through them, but I kind of like just paraphrase like hot topic. These are what we're looking at. Notice for this class, there's actually going to be 2 classes in the first week. And so I'm going to be leaving to go to an artist retreat myself halfway through July. And very graciously, Writers League of Texas was like, well, we can make it work. We'll figure it out. And so what I do think it provides us is a 2 week pad of time that you can really be digging in and developing some ideas. And so in our second session this week, I really want us to be able to kind of give you some options of how to enter a story and you to spend a little bit more time with it before we come back on the 21st. Again, I'll provide all the text. You don't have to do that stuff. My hope is that you're not having to do homework. I am a mother of 2 young children, and I know that time is very, very special and sacred. And so my hope is that we can read together in order to be able to keep your designated writing time within the 3 hours. I just ask that you want to write. That I require that people share, but you don't have to share everything that you wrote, right? It's just a matter of coming into the room with an open heart and be willing to share and to talk with others, and be willing to be surprised. And so, again, your only homework is really to take that one piece of writing minimum per session and to really start developing out into what I call a full draft. We all know as writers, we're going to tweak things for years and years and years, right? It's not in concrete, but it is really thinking about coming to a stopping place where it feels like a completed thought that by the end of our sessions together, we can kind of have a mini memoir that you can leave with and head off. So I'm excited to spend this time with you all and to really just dive in to think about what kind of stories you want to tell and how I can help you make them better. Yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much. That sounds fantastic. I'm very jealous of all of you that are going to be in the memoir track. Next up, we have the wonderful Charlotte Gulick returning to us. She's taught with us before in the summer writing retreat, and I'm so excited to hear more about the revision course. Charlotte, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be here. I just want to I want to be in Deborah's class now. You know what it is when someone creates a space that you want to enter? That's what I'm feeling. Is that like, oh, and particularly with memoir, feeling like you have a safe place. Super excited. I'm so grateful to be back with the summer writing retreat. Maybe a little choked up because I miss y'all because I'm in New York now. So I'll just briefly go over a few things. We will have a lot of fun. We will think hard and deeply consider the work that we have on the page. We will walk through the various elements of craft. I like to break things up so that I feel like I have a variety of entry points to the material. I get bored really easily, and so I need to have all these different ways that I can get to it, which is great because you need to do so many things and when you're writing good work. And I'm a big believer in inspiration and building confidence and positivity. So particularly at first class, we'll spend some time thinking about our mission, visions, values, like what is it that got us started in this work and how do we keep that thought, those feelings partnering with us, and so we don't feel so alone. The other thing I want to say here is that I love the Writers League so much because it, to me, helps dismantle this idea of the individual writer who's doing it by themselves. Like we need each other. And I think that is a very dangerous myth. And so building community and finding your community is also part of one of my goals for the class. If you find one or two people that you connect with and you continue working with them afterwards, I think that's great. To that point, I'm pretty informed by Felicia Rose Chavez's book, The Anti-Racist Writing Workshop, where she kind of looks at the old school model of how the workshop was developed for a particular group of men who were privileged. It was an extremely healing book for me. I'll put the title in the chat. It's not required reading that you have it, but it's really good if you've been in writing environments where you have felt silenced. And I like to think of revision, I break it up into two categories. There's the craft, and then there are the behaviors. And trying to tease out what are the behaviors that get in our way so that we can't get to the craft. And so we'll spend some time pulling that apart and kind of finding our entry points there. And classes will be a combination of lecture, writing exercises, and breakout groups. In between sessions, I will ask you to do some work, a little bit of reading. Sometimes I'll ask you to do some writing in response to that reading before you come to class. Sometimes we'll do that in class. I think it's really valuable to have spaces where you can share, not necessarily the material that you just wrote, but maybe but talking about the process so that you're not alone in your head when you return to the work after the end of the class. Let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to say here. Oh, I think like Deborah said, I don't see myself as an expert, which may be extremely frustrating. I think part of writing is finding your way so that you know yourself. And I think sometimes you're like, just tell me what to do. And then if we did, it wouldn't be yours. So I think kind of recognizing that a lot of this is divining your way to your material is really important. I think every time I teach a class or make a presentation, I talk about what Melissa Febos said, write the book that you needed when you were 12 or 14. I think that's a really another way of saying that we need to write so that we can find our truth and express our experience. And let's see, is there anything else I want to say here? Oh, I will be using parts of this book that I'm going to put in the chat. It is not required that you get it. It's a good book. It's chock full of stuff, so it can be a little bit overwhelming. We'll look at 3 chapters from her book, but if you are interested in buying a craft book, couldn't hurt you to get that one, but it's certainly not required. And I think that's it, except for I want to say a huge thank you to Natalia for the time that I taught at the Writers League of Texas. And she amazingly showed us handwritten pages that we were able to compare to the published work. And what an amazing thing to get to be able to see that process. So thank you so much, Natalia. And I look forward to working with everyone that's in my group.
Thank you so much, Charlotte. Oh, that sounds fantastic. Those of you who are signed up to do a month of revision, I commend you, and I'm so excited to hear how that process unfolds. Next, we have Sasha West, who is teaching our poetry course. Poetry is new to the summer writing retreat, and so we're so excited to have Sasha as our inaugural poetry faculty member for the summer writing retreat. Sasha, the floor is yours.
Oh, it's been great to be here and just hear Deborah and Charlotte talk about their classes because it's calling me back to why I really wanted to do this summer, which is just that this feels like such an important time to come together around a humanistic enterprise. You know, we write because we want to connect to ourselves, because we want to connect to other people. We want to make sense of the world. We want to nurture our imaginations. And this just feels like a time where, for many reasons across the year, I've been thinking it's a beautiful thing to gather around the hearth of poetry. I'm Sasha West. I have been teaching and publishing poetry for 25 years, and I had not done that actual math in 2025. So that felt strange. And I'm teaching a class that is called How Poetry Helps Us Live. And when I was titling that, I had a moment where I thought, is this a crazy thing to say? That is such a big promise. But I really started thinking about over these decades, there are things that really helped me when I was starting that I still come back to now, and that I feel leaking out of my writing life into how I figure out how to be a human, how to be in my community, how to be a mother and a partner and a teacher. And so I really focused on those four things. And so we're focusing on basically attention and kind of how to carry our ideas across to other people in the first week. Then we're thinking about speakers and what it is to stand in a poem and say I, and how actually big that space can be. We're going to look at revision, thinking about editing as kind of a physical change, but revision when we're doing it right is a chemical one. And in all of this, I just am really hoping that this is a time to kind of dream big and think about what happens when we look deeper within ourselves, when we ask bigger questions of the world, and when we really believe that something good can happen through that force of attention and connection. And so in our space together, like other people, we're going to be reading and trying to reverse engineer poems. I think one of the best things that we can learn as writers is that every other piece of writing that we love can send us into our own work, and figuring out kind of how to do that and what that means, and how to get curious and listen to voices that aren't ours and use those as a jumping off place into something we've never explored before. It's a slightly different kind of reading, but it's really joyful. We're going to talk a lot, and then the idea is that you'll be drafting a lot during our sessions, and sometimes you'll just be isolating sort of one small muscle of writing, like how do I describe things in a way that other people can feel and see what I'm feeling and seeing. And sometimes it'll be bigger drafts that can lead somewhere. You won't have required homework, but after every session, I will give you handouts that are kind of extensions of what we've done in our time together. And I'll give you packets for the upcoming week. So this week you'll get two, because you'll get what we're doing on Tuesday, and then you'll get the one for the next week. And that way, if you want to, if you have time, you can go through and really sink into things and kind of make your own connections. But also, if you don't, I've really tried to schedule these 4 weeks where you're getting these key habits of mind that can lead you across the summer or across the year, so that you don't look at that empty page and think I have nothing to say. You sit down and you have somewhere to go, you have somewhere to be. And so I would just say this may seem like a silly logistical thing, but make sure when you come, you have a way to write. And I want you to really think about how writing feels different across different mediums. So I write very different poems when I'm typing them. I write different poems when I'm writing by hand. Sometimes if I'm writing in a beautiful journal, and a class like this can be an excuse to get a new one, there's something that calls me into like a really sacred generative space in doing that and sort of honoring the writing. And sometimes that feels like too much pressure, and it's easier to just write on the backs of memos that I've saved, like recycled paper. Pens and pencils speed up or slow down our thoughts. So I'm focusing on the physical materials just to say that I want everything in our time together to feel like an experiment, to feel like it's a space for you to explore and notice what you're thinking and feeling, and how things are resonating in your body. And also, while I have a lot of things planned for these 4 weeks together, I love being a writer with other writers in the room, and I love being responsive. So if there are things that you're curious about or that you're excited about doing, please let me know, because I've had to pare down so many things to try to fit into just 4 sessions. So I love kind of connecting, doing that matchmaking and connecting people with resources or things that they might not otherwise find. And I hope that we can all do that for each other. So I'm just really excited about getting to be with you all. And I feel really lucky to be teaching with everybody here. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sasha. And this is the rare time where I don't have to have FOMO, because I'll be in the room with all of you as the class assistant. And I'm so excited to go on that journey. This sounds fantastic, and I cannot wait. Okay, and last but certainly not least is our fiction class with Natalia Sylvester. Natalia, we're so excited to have you teaching our fiction course this summer, and the floor is yours.
Thank you all. And oh my gosh, it's been so energizing just listening to all of you talk about your courses and your approaches. And I'm just very excited to be doing this alongside of you all. Like the Writers League especially has always felt like a creative home for me. I'm now in Florida, but Texas, Austin, and the Valley in particular are very much like my second homes, because I grew up there. I spent a lot of time in Austin as well. And I became, like my first book came out when I was in Austin, in large part because of the Writers League. I met my agent at the Editors and Agents Conference, and you all have been such an incredible part of my journey. So it's really wonderful to be able to join you this summer. So thank you for having me. So a little bit about me. So I'm a novelist. I have written fiction for all ages. My first 2 books were for adults, excuse me. And then my next 2 books were YA. And I last year came out with my first picture book. Next year, I have my debut middle grade novel that's coming out that I co-wrote with a very dear friend of mine and also an author named Chantal Acevedo. So I never really like set out thinking like, oh, I want to write for all ages, but I set out really just to kind of listen to whatever stories felt true and right in a given moment, and wanting to always be guided by this idea that even when we're writing fiction, the most important thing that I feel is that it has to feel true. Anytime that I feel stuck, it's because I realize that the first reader that I actually have to essentially convince, right? The first year that I have to make suspend all the disbelief that comes with writing something that someone will know, yeah, this is fiction, but I feel it in my core. And that for me is always like the guiding point. Like if I feel stuck, it's because I know it doesn't yet feel true. So that is something that I hope we can explore throughout our time together. Because every single time I've sat down to write something, even when, and I'm sure this is true for so many of us, right? Even when you have a process and you've written however many stories before, each story is so unique and each story has its own journey that it is very much like starting over. And one of the first courses I ever taught for the Writers League was one about starting. It was like, I forget, but it was really about writing your beginnings. And I think it's so interesting because we do talk a lot about beginnings, but one thing I really was interested in doing for our time together was taking all of that energy that can come in the beginning and figuring out how can we sustain it through the very long process that it takes to get to the end of a draft, right? And it's not to say that you're expected to finish a complete draft by the end of our 4 weeks together, but I hope that you will, that we can build a toolbox basically, and a process that will feel true to your process. Because one of the things that's also really important to me, like as so I am a Latina and I'm an immigrant and I'm disabled, and I feel it's very important to acknowledge that we're all coming from different spaces and all of our bodies and minds don't necessarily work in the same way. And so if I don't actually believe in absolutes in the creative process. So what I really hope to bring is just a toolbox built on possibility, and a possibility of what's going to feel right for you in any given moment in your creative process, and maybe in this particular story that you're working with. Because that's the other thing I found, that as much as I've honed my process over the years, when I start a new story, that story may need a very different process than the last one. So how can we lean into that unique possibility of each story without feeling completely overwhelmed by this idea that we're starting over again, right? And so we're going to be doing a lot of craft exercises, doing a lot of generative exercises to get us writing during our time together. But also one of the things that's really important to me as well is that they're also meant to empower you. Like we have the craft work, but we also have like a mindset work that comes with how do we get out of our own way when we're writing? How do we learn to trust ourselves? How do we learn to be in conversation with ourselves, to know what we need in a given moment in order to free up our creativity? How do we know how to find the heart of your story, right? In a way that that will really continue expanding and contracting in this way that will make us feel like we can get to the end of that draft. And then if we need to, then continue to reimagine it, right? Going back, and using all the tools that you all are talking about too, right? And if we're talking about revision, we're talking about, Deborah, you said something so beautifully about the ways that that people don't necessarily need to always I'm probably going to do a terrible job of summarizing, but just like how much of yourself you're expected to bring to something, right? And I think a lot about boundaries that we set things, and I think about that in fiction too, because I like, a lot of us are writing about really personal things. Even when it's fiction, it might be inspired by something in our own lives. So how do we come to that process in a way that we can dig deep, but also make it like a very gentle excavation of ourselves, of the things that are driving are inspiring us and driving our creativity. So let me see, I'm trying to think. I think also it just really takes not only a lot of time and energy, but a lot of courage to see something through to the end. And I want to help us build that as well, because finishing can feel like the most daunting thing. And to come back to the page over and over again can also mean that we are constantly encountering similar doubts and maybe obstacles along the way. And so my goal is not only that I'll be able to help empower you to maybe let go of some of those doubts, or maybe feel like we can see them in new ways, see opportunities in them, ways that we can help pull them into our stories and fold them into our processes, but also that you all help each other as well. So this is why I'm also excited that we'll be meeting throughout the month, because to so many of the previous points, the community that we're building here is so important. And so during our time together, when we do some of these exercises, I will also assign some short readings. Some of them will be in class, some of them might be assigned outside of class, but like I mentioned, they are very short because I do understand that we're all dealing with all sorts of other things in our lives. But when we do talk about them in class, and if I, for any reason, like, I hate to say lecture, right? Like, I don't actually see it as a lecture. When if I'm talking about a passage, or if I have some slides created in anticipation of our time together, it's still meant to be a conversation. because what's most interesting to me is not just what I have to say, but what you all are bringing into the space together. And I feel like that's actually some of the most beautiful ways that we grow as writers. So let me see. I think for now, that is all I have. I mean, I did mention, let's see. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there for now, and then we'll see if there's any other questions. But yeah, I'm just very excited. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Natalia. That was beautifully said, and this course sounds incredible. I love a toolbox built on possibility. That just sounds really, really incredible. All you fiction folks are in for such a treat. And so now that we've heard from all of our instructors, there was a question in the chat. You anticipated what I was going to speak to next. So for those of you who are signed up for level 2, that means you will get to meet one-on-one with these amazing instructors for a 20-minute consultation. Right after this week, you will hear from me, and I will connect you directly with your instructor, and you all will work on the best time to meet. And they will give you details on the question in the chat was, when are your pages due? You're able to submit 10 pages for feedback. The instructor will let you know the best timeline based on when your meeting is. And so those emails will go out this week. So never fear, you will get that information shortly. And then for the folks who are signed up for the Write Away, we are so excited for this. The Write Away is a really, really special program where 3 nights of the week you are writing. You are head down, pen to paper, fingers on keys, writing. And you're doing it in community with other people. You're body doubling. You know other people are in the trenches with you. So I'm so excited. We have lots of folks signed up for the Write Away this year. And you'll have a leader for these write-in sessions. You'll set intentions at the start. They'll be cheering you on in the chat throughout the sessions, and then you'll come back together as a group to talk about how the session went. Usually everyone's just really proud of themselves for sticking in the chair and getting a lot of work done. I love these sessions. I go into them thinking maybe I'll, do a few things here and there. And then once you're in the flow, it just shocked how much work you get done. It'll be led by a variety of folks. These are our A team of Writers League staff, board, and volunteers. So you'll get to meet a lot of new faces, probably people you've met before if you've been in our write-in sessions before or been in our summer writing retreats or classes even, you've probably already met these folks. But also for the folks who are signed up for the courses, if your course meets on Monday, you can join the Write-Aways on Tuesday and Wednesday. If your course is on Tuesday, you can join the Write-Aways on Monday and Wednesday. So the point is that it's going to be a big group of people who are interested in this dedicated writing time and who are committed to getting the work done and doing it together and cheering one another on. So that's the Write-Away. And then to get into how we will get all this information to you. So you're here, which means you got your welcome email. In that welcome email, there was a link to your specific course schedule. This is everything for the month of July. Not only is it the schedule, but it's also a link to join all of the events. Once the event is over, for example, tomorrow, instead of the link to join the orientation session, we will replace that with a recording of the orientation session. So you can find all of your information on one place. But still, we want to help you out. So on Monday morning, every Monday of this month, we will send you an email that has your schedule laid out in an email again with those links to join, so that you have here's my look ahead at the week, here's where I can find my link to join, and we will again share that course page with your full schedule where you can find your recordings. Information not related to schedule. Your if you have questions about the class, if you have questions about homework, those will be addressed by instructors and their class assistants. So for some of you, that will be me for both, for both program details and questions related to the class. But all other questions, and if you're not sure who the question is for, never hesitate to reach out to us at wlt@writersleague.org. The whole staff has access to this email. We will get back to you as soon as we can. And here's an example of that specific course page. Again, a link to this was in your welcome email, and it will be in every email you get on Monday morning of this month. And this is just a screenshot, so it's not the full thing, but this is just an example. You know you're in the right place if it looks like this. And if you scroll down, it's each week. Okay, so now this is my signpost to stop. I'm going to get into the full schedule, but I want to see if there's any questions on what we've touched on so far. Evan, anything I missed in the chat?
I do not believe so. I think we covered everything so far.
Okay.
There was a question
Great.
from Sasha West if we could take all the classes, which totally, if you'd like to. Sasha, if you'd like to. Might be the first time to have an instructor take other classes, but you know what? They're all wonderful, and I want to take them all myself.
Oh, thank you, Jody. It's a team effort. How do we join level 2? That's a great question because there's a limited number of slots for level 2, and so far to upgrade to level 2, please email and we can get you updated. And again, it's a really great thing. You get one-on-one time with these wonderful, wonderful writers. You get feedback on your work. It's a really great opportunity. So yeah, Rachel, if you just send us an email, we'll help you out. I got a note that my internet is unstable. Does everyone hear me okay?
You're good. I heard everything.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'll move on because we have to cover. So here's the full schedule. On week 1, Monday night will be the first meeting of the memoir class, and concurrently will be the first write-away session. And then Tuesday is our first lunchtime craft talk. This one will be with Andrew Porter. I just finished his book this morning, and it was fantastic. I'm so excited to hear him talk about atmosphere. His books are so atmospheric, and I don't understand how, and I'm so excited for him to dig into this. Then that evening, there will be 3 things happening concurrently: the revision class, the poetry class, and the second write-away session. And then on Wednesday will be our first fiction class and another write-away session happening concurrently. And then Thursday will be your second memoir class meeting. This will be the only Thursday class time of the month. But like Deborah said, she's got big plans for you all to keep you fed over the next week. And then Saturday morning is our Saturday craft seminar with Henry Lean, talking about his craft book, Spring, Summer, Asteroid, Bird. I may have said those in the wrong order, but the art of Eastern storytelling. And he will go over all kinds of story structures that are not the 3-act story structure that we have all been fed is the only way. So I'm so excited about that. And you get this craft book for free. It is not expected for you to read it before Saturday. He'll be presenting on the topic, but there will not be a test. It'll get you excited to read the book, but you will be able to follow without having read it. And Evan's going to give you an update on when you can expect your books. Evan.
Yes. So the books are being sent out in batches. I sent the first batch out last Thursday. So you should be, for a vast majority of y'all, ideally we'll be getting those books to you just before the craft seminar. But a few of you will receive them a little afterwards. You'll be receiving emails to know when I've dropped your particular batch in the mail. So you'll hear from us when they're out and about when you can expect. We'll be in constant communication. If you're ever worried about where your book is, One, look for that email. Two, just reach out to wlt@writersleague.org and we'll be happy to give you more information.
Thank you so much, Evan. It's been so fun to see the box of books come into the office and see them getting boxed up and ready to send out. I'm so excited for this book. And to answer there's a question in the chat. I was going to answer this at the end of the schedule, but might as well answer it now. Of course, all of your classes are recorded and shared with you on that schedule page. Also, all of the craft talks, Andrew Porter's craft talk, A. Kendra Green's craft talk, Jasmine Mendez craft talk, and the Saturday craft seminar will be recorded and will be on your schedule page. Those recordings will be available to you to watch and rewatch until the end of August, I believe, August 31st. So you'll have lots of time with those recordings. Thank you for asking. Okay, so week 2. So no memoir class on Monday because you met twice the week before, but there will be a right-away session that I hope you'll join. I hope everyone comes to this right-away session. It'll be a great time to get the whole gang together and get some writing done. And then Tuesday will be our second craft talk with A. Kendra Green, talking about finding meaning everywhere. This will be very exciting. I don't even know what this means, but I have an idea, and I just think it'll be really dynamic and interesting. And then we will have our second revision class, our second poetry class, and our let's see, 5th right-away session. And then on Wednesday, we will have our second fiction class, another right-away session. And then on Thursday is our WLT Third Thursday. Every third Thursday of the month, we have a craft discussion or business discussion, just a panel discussion about something of interest to writers. This third Thursday is very special. I think we have 3 New York Times bestselling authors on the panel talking to the topic of remixes and reimaginings, seeing stories anew. And so this is taking a story that's been told and told and told and told, or it's a story everyone knows and loves, and you're taking it and you're twisting it and you're making your own. There's so many things that go through my mind of things to be scared about, things to be excited about in an endeavor like that. So it'll be a really cool conversation. And then week 3, we will have our third memoir class, the right-away session, and then our third lunchtime craft talk with Jasmine Mendez. Jasmine has written across genres in really, really cool, beautiful ways. And so she's going to be talking to us about what that means, what is that like? What are the joys and challenges of writing in hybrid forms? I think writing across genre and challenging genre is one of the more exciting things you can do in your work. And so I think we'll all get a lot out of this talk. And then we'll have our third revision class, our third poetry class, another right away. And then on Wednesday, we'll have our third fiction class, another right away. And then Thursday, July 24th, this will be really fun. We are doing a trivia night. So it'll be a literary themed trivia night. We hope you'll hop on. It won't be the whole thing. So if trivia is not your jam, it's fine. It'll just be a portion of it. We'll also have lots of time to get in breakout rooms, meet up, and just chat, kind of have like a social hour, get to know each other more casually. Talk about how the process is going, check in on where you're at. It'll be a really fun night. I hope you all will come. And then our final week, we have our last memoir class, our 100th right-away session. I hope you'll be halfway through your novels at this point. And then Tuesday, we'll have the last revision class, last poetry class, another right-away session. And then Wednesday will be the final meeting of fiction class, the final right-away session. I cannot wait to be debriefed on this, to hear how much you all have gotten done at this point. And then on Thursday, we will have a student reading night, and this will be really special. We'll hear from select students in each class who will read from what they're working on. And we'll just get to celebrate a month well spent and get to cheer each other on and to congratulate one another on what I'm sure will be a really rewarding 4 weeks. I sped through that, but it's a lot to
It's
get
it's a
through.
packed schedule.
It is, it is. Are we crazy? Kind of.
In a good
Uh,
way.
So here's some just important reminders given all of this. You have access to your full schedule via the link that we shared in the welcome email. But again, we will keep sending this to you every week. But this is where you will find links to join your classes, and then afterwards, the recording for each of those classes and each of those craft talks. Again, you'll hear from us on Monday morning. Check your spam if you're not getting emails from us. Put us in your contacts, wlt@writersleague.org, to make sure those get through to you. But again, if you're not seeing them, never hesitate to reach out. And then again, all classes and craft talks will be recorded and shared on your schedule page. We know things happen. You may have to, you you may not be on the one, have nothing going on every night of July. So we want to make sure you don't miss a thing and you have some time to watch it at your own pace. So, any questions before we dive in? Oh, Rachel, I see a question on Zoom. Yes, this is all virtual. The whole retreat is virtual. I do hope you'll make some connections close to you and that you can do some meetups in person. That is not unheard of, that people make connections with people in their area and can do some offline writing groups. I hope that can happen for you. Can we come late? And yes, that is a great question. Yes, the write-in sessions are 3 hours long. Maybe 3 hours is not your jam for a writing session. Maybe you want to do a 1-hour sprint. Come for the first hour, come for the middle hour. They're very much come and go as you please. Great question. Oh, Nikki, send us an email. Just kept saying will not allow. Okay. Send me an email, Nikki, and we'll see what's going on with that. And we'll get you situated. Any other questions? And if folks need to go, you can go ahead and hop off, but Evan and I will hang out for a few more minutes and make sure there's not any more questions. Yeah, that's a good point, Deborah. I could share the PowerPoint I just went through too. I'll stop sharing my screen so we don't have to watch the penguin jump in the pool.
Oh, this is so exciting.
Oh yeah, I will
We have-
say for those of you in, I believe, revision and poetry, you received a Google form to fill out. And so please do fill out those Google forms.
We're registered for one session. Do we register for another if we want to?
Yes.
Yeah, if you'd like to sign up for another class, feel free to do so. We are happy to have you join us for multiple tracks. Plenty of stuff to get done this summer.
Yes, and Kevin, if you're here, you should have access to the right away sessions. If you're signed up for one of the courses, you're welcome to go to the right away sessions on nights that your course is not in session. Great questions. Yes, please. Yes, Deborah, I'd love to see you in there.
Yes, Deborah,
Yes.
come join us.
Everyone involved with the summer writing retreat, welcome to jump in on those writing sessions. The more the merrier, honestly. It just feels really cool when you're on a Zoom room and there's, 50 other people getting their work done. It's very motivating.
I love how Joni put in the chat that it was like soft accountability, going to just a beautiful way to think about it.
Absolutely. And it's so true.
I think just it's such a simple, beautifully simple thing. Right
Yeah,
away. It's
Kevin,
just 3 hours, log in.
oh, sorry, Evan. I started answering question as you were talking. To answer your question, Kevin, the links to join the right away sessions are on your schedule, yes. And they will be in your Monday, they'll be in the Monday morning email too. Serenity, send us an email because I think if you've signed up for level 2 and you've signed up for the right away, we might be able to make something work for you, transfer some credit to another course. So send us an email, please, and we can get you situated. How many people are usually in each class? That's a great question. It's an intimate class number so far. We've got, I think, around 15 people signed up. Registration for each class about on average. Registration is not closed yet, though, so we could have a big jump in registration, but I think that sounds kind of like a really lovely number at the moment. But so you could probably expect 15 to on an upward end 30, but that's not likely this year. Any other questions? Did I stop sharing my screen? No, I never did.
No, you saw the screen.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, y'all. I forced y'all to look at that GIF forever. Well, y'all feel free to hop off and enjoy your Sunday evening. Again, Evan and I will hang out for a few more minutes to see if you have any more questions. And instructors, thank y'all so much for being here, for coming on this ride with us, for being our captains. So excited for this month.
It's such a wonderful, wonderful month ahead of us. I'm so glad that we're about to dive in. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, I can't believe it's here.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.